Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out, the podcast, the greatest podcast featuring us, two handsome guys that are beautiful. I forgot where I was going with that. Hey, I'm Johanan.
I mean, I feel like you said it all there, and I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse Drew Munhausen. Starting off with the incredible intros here, episode 151, 151 times into this, and sometimes they work, sometimes they
I
don't.
think
But
I'm getting
Jahan, I think
worse.
you always. No, and I mean it's kind of like an interesting time. It's the week right before Memorial Day weekend. I feel like from a like games and movie news situation, it's like kind of slow going. But I mean it makes sense from the movie standpoint. Like we're moving into the summer movie season. Like that's kind of officially up and running now. Um, but Jahan, do you have any like speaking of summer, do y'all have any family trips or anything like that planned?
Nothing this year. I used up a lot of PTO at the end of last year, uh, and like I went over, so like I lost some this year for my paternity leave. But I mean, I'm kind of saving it for like end of the year and for Renfest.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, speaking of Renfest, did you see the news today that King George, the creator of the Texas Renaissance Festivals, passed away? So
He died.
R.I.P. King George. He
He
did officially.
he was king over exactly 50 years of the Texas Renaissance.
The fascinating figure who's the subject of a documentary called Ren Fair that I believe is on HBO and HBO Max, and I recommend watching. I think I talked about it on the show when I
You have,
watched
yeah.
that about a little over a year ago.
Yep.
It's really good. He is a fascinating figure.
He's an interesting guy, and he was forced to sell right before he died because he started the selling process, and then it went to litigation. It finally sold recently, and then he died. So hopefully, I was talking about this with a friend today. Hopefully, they don't sell it to make condos. Like that'd be a
Yeah,
travesty.
it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, it'll continue as the vision has been, or whoever owns it wants to continue it. It seemed like when he was in the selling process. Well, I don't know. That gets into the whole subject matter. I just say watch the documentary.
Watch
Watch
the
Ren Fair.
documentary.
It's about who he wanted to sell it to and why, and his reluctance to give it up, but also trying to find a successor. It's really fascinating stuff. I We just took a little family trip this past
Oh yeah,
weekend.
where'd you go?
We just went to the Great Wolf Lodge.
Ooh.
My 5-year-old has seen the commercials on TV for a long time and has like wanted to go. And from my understanding, there's multiple Great Wolf Lodges all around. There was a really big one in Grapevine area in Texas, but they just opened one in late 2024 that's in Webster area, which is like
Oh,
right
nice.
outside Galveston. So for us in the Houston area, it's like an hour drive to get there, which is a lot better than driving like 4 hours to the Grapevine one. So it's convenient, and it's mostly the same as the other ones. And are you familiar with Great Wolf
I
Lodge
am.
and
Yeah, I'm
what it
familiar.
is?
Last
Have
thing
you
I
been
heard
to one
about,
before?
I've never been to one. Last thing I heard about it was there's like a listeria outbreak 'cause someone had diarrhea in the water or something. But
Oh
I,
God.
I'm sure that was an isolated incident. So
Luckily, that wasn't an issue. No, I mean, yeah, it's a big hotel, but like kind of tries to do like its own little theme park within the hotel. Like they have characters and stuff, like all these different wolves and raccoon characters and such that are like their mascot characters, and they have storytelling times in the big lodge area where they, you know, have those characters involved. But then there's like a huge area that looks like a big forest where they have like mini golf and they have these overhead like adventure park. But then there's also this kind of VR, not VR, but like I guess some sort of you can get a wand and there's things all around the forest that like the wand can interact with, and you actually can do like a quest, and you go and find certain things and bring them back and get certain runes, and then can fight bosses and all this crazy stuff. Like
That's
it's kind of
awesome,
cool.
dude. That's awesome.
I I was more into it than my 5 year old. I was like wanting to find all the things, but she kind of lost interest quickly. But I enjoyed that part of it. But the real attraction, of course, is there's a big indoor water park. That's actually like a pretty nice water park. And that was, of course, a big hit with the kids. But I tell you what, man, you go on a trip like this, and my 5 year old could do these slides and be like, again, 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 like pretty good sized water slides. And, you know, you're going upstairs and then down the slides and
Yeah.
upstairs and down the slides. And I would do a lot of them with her. And like, she'd want to do it again and again. And did the bigger ones that are like really high up where you do the 2-person tubes. And I have to carry this big ass tube up all these stairs to the top and wait in line and then get to go. And just at this point in my life, those slides, they jerk you around pretty good. And Gwen would be like, again. And I'm like, I need a minute. Like I just need
fair.
to sit for a second.
I feel like the last time
it was
I went
fun.
to a theme park was with Jenny. We went to Fiesta, Texas in San Antonio. And I was on the Wonder Woman ride. And it was thrashing me. And I was like, my joints hurt. Like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is awful. And, like, yeah. No, man, I'm a big theme park guy. I love theme parks. Love that whole thing. Honestly, if I could, like, choose a thing to, like, do, running a theme park would be, like, top of my list, man.
I have to give them credit. Like all their staff were very friendly and helpful. They have like an arcade and they have all this stuff. It's just your typical thing where like they kind of nickel and dime you. Like it's one
Of
thing
course.
to you pay for your room, but then from there nothing's included. Like if you want to buy food, you pay for the food. And they have multiple restaurants on site, but everything's upcharged. They had like a Dunkin' Donuts and an ice cream place and a bunch of like other food places or restaurants you can make reservations at. But of course, none of that's included. But you're right there in a populated area, and there's tons of restaurants around, and like you can leave the resort. It's not like you're stuck there. So,
Yeah.
you know, or I saw people like door dashing food and stuff like that. And even the arcade was like really expensive if you actually wanted to play a lot of games. But that's kind of to be expected in this resort. And we did a Sunday through Tuesday, and we're able to get like a really nice big room, bigger than we probably even needed, for like a third or quarter of the price of what it would have been getting just a regular room and staying Friday through
Yeah.
Sunday. So that's, you know, we lucked out from that standpoint, kind of going before school's out and it's a little less populated and you can still get some good deals. And I think those Great Wolf Lodges run deals all the time. But yeah, for people that are listening that might be interested in going, I enjoyed it. It's tiring from a parent perspective, but the kids loved it. Although I will say there's not very much there for kids like under 2.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a 5-year-old and above, you're good. But we have a 1-year-old, and that was pretty difficult because there's no really good toddler areas or things for them. You have to manage that, and it's difficult. And there's like a lot of kids that are older running around too. Like you get your teenagers that are there in groups, and they're, you know, sometimes not as observant of the smaller kids and things. And sometimes you're parenting, you know, like Papa Bear and Mama Bear mood takes over when you're like protecting your kids from other crazy kids running around.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. But that's all kind of comes with the territory of any park you go to or family attractions.
Just being in public, man. Yeah, you gotta watch out.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. So
yeah, I look forward to doing all that stuff with the boy. And we've already talked about a future friends trip to like Disney or something, so you should definitely get in on that with us, and we got to do that.
yeah, I would be all in on that kind of thing. We
Last-
took Gwen when she was 2.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was probably too young, but
Too
we had
young.
a good time.
yeah, we're thinking more 4 or 5 for the first trip. And yeah, last time I went, we rented a house and had a pool and stuff. It was real nice. So like, and there's lots of room. We could have fit everyone we know in there. So be really cool, man.
I've never gone to Disney and not stayed on like at a Disney resort.
I have never stayed at a theme park resort.
Interesting.
If we did that, that would be my first time.
Yeah. I bet that your way is a lot cheaper.
Way cheaper, man. I mean, that's mostly, yeah, that's why we would do it, you know. But it's still, it has its own appeal. It has its own charm. You kind of get away from the craziness a little bit, and I don't know, it makes it fresh every day, I guess.
Could see that. Like you kind of feel like you actually get to escape that for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was some good opening banter as we're in the summer. You know, there's really not much to report on the Switch 2, you know, on over on that side of the news other than, you know, we're 2 weeks away from release date. We both got our pre-orders, so all we can do is count down the days. Although I will say we both got our email from Nintendo that basically said, hey, you know, because we both did the pre-registration with Nintendo, right, to potentially get in to order directly from them. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, we both got the email that said,
We both got the email.
You're still in the line, but you're not invited to order one yet.
I don't think I've been invited to actually properly order one yet, so I'm like, huh. I'm really glad I got in on that Walmart pre-order.
And there have been people that got invited to order through Nintendo because I've looked on the Reddit and it seems to be completely at random. There are people that registered like the day they found out they could do it and they didn't get an invite. And then there's people that registered like 2 days before invites went out and they got an invite. So it seems like it's truly random and all over the place. But thankfully we got our pre-orders other places and we don't have to worry about that. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people getting those same emails from Nintendo that we got that are also saying, well, I wouldn't be ordering one from them anyways. Or maybe they'd get a second. Who knows?
Who knows, man? Maybe they try to sell their place in line, but no.
On the video game line of news as well, I did see today that Hellblade 2 is coming to PlayStation officially. Did you see that today?
I did see that.
Not surprising.
No. I mean, it seems like they're just going to do all of it. They're doing all the Xbox games to PlayStation now. There are no rules. It's all good.
Yeah, it really shouldn't even be a headline at this point, I guess, because now it truly is just to be expected. But it still kind of makes you raise an eyebrow, especially with how long we were waiting for Hellblade 2 to come out. It was part of the announcement of the Xbox Series X console. Was like, and here's a look at Hellblade 2. I'm trying to remember what Senua's Saga is. Hellblade 2. I remember seeing that first look, and we just patiently waited, and it was like 4 years after the console came out, we finally got that game, and then less than a year later, or right about a year later, it gets announced for PlayStation consoles. This is right on the heels of Gears of War being announced coming to PlayStation, and it's just a matter of time before the Master Chief Collection comes. That's going to be the big one, the big headline, is when Halo goes to PlayStation.
I mean, the headline might as well be Microsoft wants more money. Yeah, no shit. I mean, I guess go off, but I mean,
and Microsoft has officially become the biggest third-party publisher on the PlayStation console, which is wild.
Which is hilarious. And, like, I don't know, they really pivoted in a way I think definitely benefits them. But it seems to me the console war is over. And it kind of seems like PlayStation won. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, in a way, I feel like as gamers, we all win. In a way, like I have a PlayStation console where I'm now starting to play a lot of my games, and I'm happy with all the PlayStation exclusives and third-party games I play on there. But I love having my Xbox for Game Pass, and I've been playing a lot of Xbox Game Pass on there lately because it's just been one after another with Avowed, and then Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and South of Midnight was before that, and now Doom the Dark Ages is out, which we'll talk about that later in the show, because that's pretty much all I've been playing lately.
That's just naming the big ones. There's been so much coming to Game Pass that, like, I download most of it, and, like, we'll turn it on at least to see what's going on, but it's just so much, man.
Well, and then Metaphor, which is a game I had talked about a few months ago, and was, I think, a fresh pick of the week for me several times, and a game I put a lot of hours into when I played it on PlayStation. That's officially coming to Xbox Game Pass later this month, which is great because Xbox and Atlas, the developer of that game, have had a great relationship. So all the Persona games have come to Game Pass over the time, so it makes sense that that's coming there. I'm excited for more people to be able to play that game because I paid for that game and have no regrets. I loved it. So the fact that people are going to get to play it for their Game Pass subscription is incredible value.
I've almost bought it a couple times on your recommendation because last time I picked up one of your recs, it was one of my favorite games of all time, that being Alan Wake 2. And so, like, I'm like, Drew's probably right. But now I don't have to buy it, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought that was worth noting from the video game side of things. I feel like otherwise it's kind of business as usual. On the movie side of things, I will say from an awards corner and from like Drew's Oscar corner, that it's only May, but Cannes Film Festival is happening right now. So there's a lot of hotly anticipated movies that will probably be big fall awards movies that are starting to get their first screenings overseas, and we'll start playing the festival circuit. So this is an exciting time for me as the awards guy to start seeing the landscape of what it's going to look like. Um, you know, Probably excites me more than a lot of other people, but can be kind of annoying though because it's the one where you hear about like this movie got an 11-minute standing ovation, and like it almost
dumb.
is like that's supposed to be representative of the quality of the movie, even though Amelia Perez got an 11-minute standing ovation last year, and that movie is not good. So go figure.
I saw like one scene in that when they were singing about sex changes, and I was like, that movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's not good.
It was bad.
It's really not good. But yeah, so that's exciting. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, and this will lead into fresh movies of the week, because I did get to see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is the 8th film of the Mission Impossible franchise. And Tom Cruise is out there, man. He's out there doing the press tour hardcore for this. I feel like the most he's really done a press tour in a while, even with, a Mission Impossible movie just a couple years ago and Top Gun Maverick and everything. So I just saw him on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and he did this whole thing where they were playing a game and they reunited a mom with her son who's been overseas in the Navy. And then they just announced he's going to be on Pat McAfee's show, like on ESPN. And I feel like it's just a matter of time before they announce him for like Hot Ones or something like that, which is kind of like the modern day.
I don't think Tom Cruise would ever do Hot Ones.
You never know. I just feel like there's this thing that happened in the awards race earlier this year, late last year. And is Timothy Chalamet, and when he was doing the press tour for the Bob Dylan movie, he got nominated for an Oscar. He won, I think it was the Screen Actors Guild Award, if I'm remembering correctly, for Best Actor. But Timothy had a kind of incredible press tour for that movie that I think won over a lot of people, or he was in the running. Like, if Adrian Brody didn't get his second Oscar, it's probably going to be Timothy's Oscar. And I think he came really close to it, but he didn't get it. And he's probably going to get nominated for an Oscar again this year. But when Timothy Chalamet was doing the press tour, he was doing a lot of kind of unprecedented things at that time, like showing up on College Game Day and doing things for a more modern, younger audience. Because, like, the fact of the matter is the late night news, like, or late night talk shows, like your Fallons and your Kimmels and those shows are slowly dying. Like, people aren't watching those as much, and they live more through the clips that go viral on YouTube and such. And so your things like Hot Ones is like the modern equivalent of the Tonight Show, like from a viewership standpoint, and from what kids are watching or younger audiences are watching.
I watch it like all the time.
Yeah, these young celebrities are celebrities that not just young, but like celebrities will go on it, and usually it's a good look for them. Like Conan's segment went super viral on
Conan's
Hot Ones because of.
was legendary.
So I find the Tom Cruise press tour happening for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning to be really amusing because I feel like he's doing a little more than he normally would, or stepping a little bit outside the comfort zone, and I enjoy that.
It's funny.
This is the stuff I care about, John.
Watching him do Hot Ones would be wild, dude.
We'll see if it happens, but it probably won't. But how amazing would that be?
All hail Xenu.
All right. Are you a fan of the Mission Impossible franchise?
I am.
I had a big shout out to Connor. He's a regular listener of the show. He's the biggest James Bond fan that I know. Just a huge Bond franchise fan. And I brought up the Mission Impossible when I saw this movie, and he was like, never got into the Mission Impossible movies. And it kind of surprised me because they're obviously very different from Bond movies, but I do kind of categorize them in the same like spy action.
Yeah, they're in the
especially
same vein,
modern Bond
for sure.
movies. And I found it interesting that they didn't really resonate with him like the Mission Impossible movies didn't. And it makes sense that like the Mission Impossible franchise is really weird because we're fully in fresh movies of the week for what it's worth at this point. The first 4 Mission Impossible movies all had different directors kind of doing different visions. Like Brian De Palma did the first one, and then John Woo did the second one, and J.J. Abrams did the third one, and I think it was Brad Bird did the fourth one. So it was like a lot of interesting people with different takes kind of doing like these standalone entries. And then Christopher McQuarrie took over the franchise and directed the 5th movie, and then went on to direct the 6th, the 7th, and now the 8th as well. And he and Tom Cruise have a really good working partnership. And they've been, ever since, I'd say, like the 4th movie, which wasn't McQuarrie, but still, it kind of set the standard for these huge, big action set pieces. And it now feels like this series of like trying to one-up themselves with each movie and like what big action set pieces they have. And disappointingly for me, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the newest one, the supposed finale of this franchise, you would expect to go out with a bang, kind of puts a lot of the action on the back burner, and it's very plotty. It's kind of messy. The big action set pieces that are there are great. As to be expected. I just felt like it needed one more big set piece to really give it the oomph that it needed. And that's saying a lot because the movie is like 170 minutes long. Like it's almost 3 hours long as it is.
Jeez.
But it does a lot of trying to, this movie was originally supposed to be called Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2. If you remember, the last one, number 7, was Dead Reckoning Part 1. And then I think it like just didn't perform as well as they wanted it to. So to get away from the whole Part 1, Part 2, they changed this one to The Final Reckoning. And I think now they've kind of retconned the 7th to just being called Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. But this one, it's basically still serving as a Part 2 to Dead Reckoning. So it has to tie up all the loose ends set up in the last movie. But it's also trying to bring a lot of closure to the franchise and giving answers or bringing up things that happened in much earlier entries in the franchise that are almost like things we didn't even ask for. Yeah. Some of them are amusing to me, and I actually really enjoyed, and some of it was like, okay, you know, there's in Mission Impossible 3, I don't know if you've seen it, that one's directed by J.J. Abrams, who is the king of MacGuffins in movies, and the MacGuffin of that movie, like the device that they're fighting over, is just this thing called the rabbit's foot, and it's never clear in that movie what it even does. It's just some sort of biological weapon or something that Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is trying to get, and Tom Cruise is trying to get him, trying to get it from him first, and that's kind of all you know. Like this movie tries to even give explanation as to what the rabbit's foot is from Mission Impossible 3, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's even asking that now. Like nobody cares, but it's mentioned.
Sounds really messy, buddy.
It is, and I didn't I didn't dislike it. I actually liked it a lot as far as going to the movies and seeing a big action movie on the big screen. It's still incredibly fun to see, but just as a Mission Impossible movie that I wanted to be like the big going out with a bang finale, it just wasn't that for me. If I had to rank the Mission Impossible franchise for me, and this will mean nothing to those that haven't seen it, but still for me, I think sixth is the best one. That's Fallout. That's the one with
Fallout's
Henry Cavill.
probably the best one. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's the one that's got Henry Cavill with the mustache, all that good stuff. And then five, which is the first of the McQuarrie ones, Rogue Nation. And then I would say probably four, and then seven.
Okay.
Then this eighth one would be fifth on the rankings. And then I'd say it goes three, one, and two. And two is the worst one. And two even has things I like about it, but it's a tough hang.
You didn't
Especially
like
now.
one, huh?
No, I actually like one a lot. It's just very traditional. There's not that much action in it. I like all of them. That's
To-
the thing, to be
to-
clear, is I like
to
all of them.
be-
So ranking them is gonna,
To be fair on the traditionality of the first one, it pretty much created the traditions. You know what I mean? Like, half the spy tropes come from that movie, you know?
the famous laser
Yep.
scene and going through the vent into that room in the Pentagon, if I'm remembering correctly. That scene is
Maybe.
iconic.
Yeah.
That scene is still absolutely incredible to watch now.
I still, every time I think of the first one, I always think of that guy getting stabbed in the face on the top of the elevator. He almost gets smushed. I always think of that scene.
Oh yeah, it's Emilio Estevez.
Oh, was that? Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember seeing that in theaters, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
I'm
good
trying to
stuff.
see. Oh no, they infiltrate CIA headquarters in Langley. It's Langley, that's right, because they reference Langley a lot in this movie. So like that's the thing is this movie references that scene
Oh boy.
from the first movie multiple times,
So
and
unnecessary.
again tries to bring things full circle. So yeah, it's just it wasn't what I wanted, but I still enjoyed myself. Like I still this is a lot of complaining about it, but ultimately at the end of the day I enjoyed it. It just was disappointing for what it could have been. Nobody's going to these movies for the plot anymore.
No, it's a
I
bunch
just
of.
want to see
It's our dads,
what
man.
crazy-
They don't remember.
Yeah, like I just want to see what crazy stunt Tom Cruise is doing because a lot of it he does practically, and there is the climax of this movie is this scene with these two biplanes, and there's been tons of behind the scenes coverage of Tom Cruise hanging off the side of this biplane,
I've
really
seen
doing
it. It's pretty crazy.
And in that scene in the movie, there's a part where he's hanging off, and the wind, like they're going fast, and the way the wind is whipping his hair against his face, and the way his face is vibrating, you're like, CG couldn't replicate that. Like that's real. That you could only get that here, and that's the thing that I want to get out of a Mission Impossible movie. So we got some of that here. I just could have used more, especially for the supposed finale.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't know. It sounds messy and unnecessary, but I'm sure they'll make another one.
I think it'll happen too.
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise, because you couldn't do one without him now.
Probably you couldn't do one without him legally.
Right. I think
if I know Tom Cruise.
He has some sort of stake in the franchise.
Oh yeah, that dude's and he's litigious as hell. So
Well, we'll transition from Mission Impossible, and I want to talk about Bring Her Back, which is the new horror film directed by Danny and Michael Filippo, who actually directed the movie Talk to Me, which is a popular horror movie, which you just watched. So I want you to talk about Talk to Me first for a second.
oh, well done. I let you in, sir. Yeah. So, Talk to Me. I do like horror. I don't get to watch it as much as I want to, but I've been trying to watch it more casually, just like so I can see it. Talk to Me is on HBO right now. or Max as it's called. But just kidding,
Gonna be
it's
HBO
HBO
Max
Max
again.
again because
Yeah.
they're idiots. I remember, yeah, talking about that when it happened. Yeah, it's funny. But anyways, talk to me. Yeah, it's a really cool movie. Interesting premise. Magic, potentially plastic hand, maybe with a real hand inside. Who knows? It's a really cool set piece. It's really cool, like MacGuffin. Like it's an interesting little thing. Um, yeah, man, it's these kids doing seances and deliberately getting possessed for a high that seems equitable to drugs. It seems like they're doing it at parties. It seems like they're having fun with it, but they're seeing dead people. They let someone try it who shouldn't try it. It goes very badly, and there's savage amounts of violence that ensue. A lot of really fucked up stuff happens. I do enjoy that in the second act, you don't really know what's real anymore either. The character's losing it. It's devolving. What's happening to the primary victim of the situation is horrific. It disturbed me just the right amount. I honestly, I think it's a solid movie. It's a little much at times. It seems like it could have been reined in a little bit on some of what was going on and maybe developed a little better plot wise. But hey, it's kind of a lower budget horror thing, and for what it is, it's fantastic. I think it's really good. I liked it. So when I saw Bring Her Back was coming out, I was excited for it. I did not see it though yet because it's not out yet.
Yeah, Talk to Me looks like it was made on a $4.5 million budget and made almost $100 million. So like
Yep.
pretty good business. And to go along with what you were saying, I remember that being the thing I liked about it. I liked the take of, hey, this is what these young like Gen Z kids are doing at parties now. It's like no longer are they playing drinking games or doing whatever. It's like, hey, let's get possessed. Like let's do this. I
Yeah,
love
bro.
that take on it. Like busting out the embalmed hand at a party.
It's nothing
And
if not unique. It's certainly a unique take, and in the horror space, a fresh take is everything.
yeah. Well, their follow-up film, their follow-up film is called Bring Her Back. It comes out on I think the 30th here in the US. I did get a chance to see it early, and I liked it just as much, if not more, than Talk to Me.
Oh, good.
And the thing that I liked about it was that so the plot of this one is it's a pair of step siblings that have like a really strong bond, um, but their dad passes away, and so they are forced into the foster system. And the girl, the sister, is visually impaired,
Okay.
so the older brother is like extremely protective of her, and they end up going to this woman named Laura, becomes their foster mother, played by Sally Hawkins, who's an actress that I really like. And she, I think a lot of people would know her. She's the lead in Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water, his Fishman movie, but she also plays the mom in the first two Paddington movies, and she's was in Wonka. She's been in a bunch of stuff. Got like Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. She's been around, but she's an actress who I really like, and she's typically extremely charming and nice and just very likable. And in this, she plays this foster mom who clearly does not have everyone's best interests at heart, and it tries to like the way she's utilizing her skills for being over the top nice, but using that to mask like what's really happening underneath, I thought was fantastic. And she has another foster son that's living with them named Ollie, who's mute, and clearly, not all is right with Ollie. So that's kind of the setup for this movie. and it gets into more of like possession and transference of souls and things like that. And there is a lot of like body horror and things that you would expect from these directors, having seen Talk to Me.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that's really unique about this, as opposed to Talk to Me, Sophie Wilde, who's the lead of Talk to Me, I think is really great. But Sally Hawkins in Bring Her Back is like one of the new great horror performances
Okay.
to me. Like, just an incredible horror villain. And I loved everything that she was doing. And I just found this movie to be like a full on anxiety ride the whole time. Like, you just know something's not right. And I feel like it never really lets up. So the entire time, my skin was crawling, just wondering where it was going, and I really enjoyed that about it. So I highly recommend Bring Her Back, especially if you were a fan of Talk to Me. I think you're gonna get more of the styles of these directors that you would come to expect, but in a movie that I actually liked a little bit more. I also enjoyed that it doesn't do like an info dump and ever say to you like, here's exactly what's happening and how it's happened and why it's happening. Like, it truly lets you piece it together yourself over the course of the movie, and some of the details are still a little fuzzy, but you kind of get the gist of it, and I enjoyed that about it too.
I enjoy that kind of lore discovery for sure.
Yeah, there's something to be said about movies that trust the audience to be smart enough to figure it out. And I was at an early screening, but they did allow some fans into it, and there were people behind me, as you come to expect in some horror movies, that they're like kind of reacting out loud or saying their thoughts,
Yeah.
and it was clear that they did not quite understand what was going on, and so I'm just rolling my eyes like, come on, keep up. But for me, I was able to follow along pretty easily, and I just really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, man! I look forward to seeing it.
Yep. And speaking of seeing it, you did get to see Thunderbolts,
Bro, I saw Thunderbolts. Yeah, I did. Oh boy.
and what'd you think?
So, my base thoughts here. Thunderbolts is probably the best Marvel movie in the post Endgame era. It's very good. I like it a lot. The villain is fantastic. The way they touch on such interesting topics. It's a superhero movie. It doesn't really have any superheroes in it. It's more of that anti-hero story, but like that's not the most interesting about it. The interesting thing about it is it explores and like very realistically, as someone that suffers from depression, they really dive into depression, sadness, mental illness, loneliness, feeling worthless. Like, it's, man, they really get into it, and it's just so well written. And the fact that they are bringing something like this to a mainstream audience, I think is really cool. Because I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people. I think that it's a really good movie. Not a big fan of Taskmaster's early out, but it was, I don't know, man.
Which was figured out by fans like sometime before the movie came out. It seemed like fans pieced that together, and then
Yeah, because I mean, she's not in most of the footage of the movie, but yeah, it's just, yeah, I wish she'd been longer. She was really cool. And then
it was telling too when they released the Avengers Doomsday cast, and all of the Thunderbolts were included as part of the cast,
except for
Taskmaster.
Yeah, man, I think this movie really, really did a really good job. Visually, it's amazing. Florence Pugh kills it. She has completely overtaken Black Widow as a character. I mean, Scarlett Johansson did a great job, and she wasn't really allowed to do what Florence Pugh is getting to do. Florence Pugh is she's being written with depth and like they're really showing off this character in ways that they never bothered with Black Widow, which I think is a sign that Marvel might be maturing a little bit in their writers' room, hopefully. But yeah, David Harbour, great performance. I also did not get sick of him. I know you said that some people did, but you didn't. I thought he was great the whole time. His raw enthusiasm was hilarious. And a lot of it, and it becomes clear that a lot of it he's doing for her benefit because he loves his child. And it's like, man, this, like, he's kind of putting on a brave face for his child who's also sad. So he's like, I can't let her see it. You know, I don't know, man. It hit home in a lot of ways. And Sentry was fantastic. That actor killed that performance. That actor, perfect. 10 out of 10. Couldn't, like, I really wanted Stephen Ewan to be Sentry. It would have been really cool. I was excited for that. But having seen the guy that they got and his performance, I can't imagine anyone else having done it. It was perfect.
It is Lewis Pullman is the actor who plays Sentry, and he is the son of Bill Pullman, who's Star-Lord in Spaceballs and many other things, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you know that, Lewis Pullman looks so much like his dad.
He
that
does.
it's kind of uncanny. He was this. I knew Florence Pugh was going to be great in it, and she lived up to expectations and was absolutely wonderful. Lewis Pullman, to me, was the biggest surprise of the movie. He was great.
His performance was perfect. No notes. Do it again. And then the rest of the cast. It was a solid cast, you know. Honestly, the weakest performance was probably Bucky. Like, I like Sebastian Stan, but, like, I feel like he was written strangely kind of to accommodate the storyline. I don't know. His character was a little
but
off
I feel
to
like
me.
that doesn't even matter because I feel like the energy that Stan brings is like probably some of the most movie star energy of anybody that's in the movie, and I think that Bucky's still like a captivating presence.
He's still good. I don't actually have complaints about him. It's just like of the cast, I feel like he was lower on the totem pole because like Ghost was fantastic. She did a really good job. And U.S. Agent. I forget his name, but that was quite the interesting performance for him too, man. They were all dealing with very real issues and very real life problems, and it was like, man, like, you ever been too in your phone when you're supposed to be watching your kid, and your wife gets mad at you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that moment hit home really hard for me because I'm a new dad, and I've definitely had her be like, "Hey, you should, you know, you're gonna regret not paying more attention." And it's like, "Yeah, you're right, I will," and so I'll pay attention and, you know, be more present, all that stuff, you know. But it's just the way he reacted. I don't know, man. Everything about this hit home personally. And I feel like that's going to be true for a lot of people. I think Thunderbolts is fantastic. The asterisk is hilarious. The end credit scenes were great. One of them, very interesting, obviously. You know which one I'm talking about. And yeah, honestly, I think if I'm being conservative, this gets an 8, 8.5. If I want to give it what I want to give it, I'd give it a 9. But I feel like that might be recency bias and just, honestly, the rest of Marvel movies lowering my bar a little bit. But this is fantastic. Thunderbolts is a great movie.
Now, I'm curious, and I'm going to just outright talk about it now because, you know, this movie's been out
long
for a couple
enough.
weeks, and Marvel, you know, outed it too. Did you get spoiled at all on the new Avengers titling asterisk at all before seeing the movie?
I did not get spoiled that I can think of. I might have seen like a new Avengers thing and just not thought about it. But no, I didn't get spoiled.
I'm glad for you. Like, because for me, I saw it opening weekend, and by Monday they were doing the whole marketing press tour of like, there's the giant billboard in LA where they had ripped they changed the title on it to New Avengers, and they had videos on Marvel's social media of Sebastian Stan going to like posters in public and putting over it the new Avengers poster, and like they pretty much outed the new Avengers titling 3 days after the movie came out, which was like really baffling to me because I'm like, I get it, it's all for press and for publicity. Like, wait a week or wait 2 weeks. It seemed super fast, but to each their own. And luckily, not everybody got spoiled. You didn't get spoiled on that before, so that got because I thought that was a fun surprise when the new Avengers name is announced.
Yeah.
All that stuff, and then and the stuff in the post-credit scene, which I won't talk about here. But I also enjoyed that the post-credit scene is directly setting up things that are about to happen, rather than the route that a lot of these movies have taken in the past 2 to 3 years, where it teases something that you never even know if they're going to come back to it, like Harry Styles being in an Eternals movie, or Charlize Theron being at the end of a Doctor Strange movie. Like, we haven't seen any of that come to fruition.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
At the end of the Thor movie, it's like they loved to introduce these characters, and then nothing's happened. We've never seen them, so it's just all weird.
Yeah, it's like they put them in their movie because they have control over the movie, but then Marvel won't sign off on it because they're like, I don't want to make that movie, and it's like, you guys probably should have talked about this ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, if I wasn't going to see Fantastic Four before, I sure as shit am now, dude. I'm excited. I'm back. I'm back in the Marvel excitement, man. I'm back.
Good. I'm glad to hear that you were super positive on it. I also thoroughly enjoyed it, and I agree that it's one of, if not the best, post-in-game movie, maybe alongside like Guardians 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, those are probably the ones that are kind of up there.
Yeah. I always forget Spider-Man No Way Home
felt like
is
a Marvel
post.
movie.
Yeah, this one felt good, man. It felt real good.
You feel good. Anyway, I saw the only other movie I have to mention. My wife got to pick one night. We were watching something on Netflix, and she was like, "Let's watch this." And it was this comedy that came out, I think, back in February, but I hadn't seen it yet. An Amy Schumer comedy called "Kinda Pregnant" on Netflix. And the only reason I even put it on the docket to talk about is that I kind of enjoyed this more than I expected to. It's not amazing by any means. It's kind of what you would expect from this situational comedy.
Yeah.
It's basically Amy Schumer's character thinks that her boyfriend's going to propose because she's ready to start a family and all this stuff. And of course he doesn't. And so she's depressed and nobody treats her well. And then her best friend is pregnant, and so they're at like a maternity store or something, and Amy Schumer's character finds like a pillow, like a replica pregnant belly, and like is kind of putting it on like just for fun. And then she wears it in public, and everybody treats her differently. Like, treats her nicely with more respect, like standing up and offering their seat and all this stuff. And she's like, man, being pregnant's awesome, even though she's not actually pregnant. And then naturally she meets a lady who thinks that she's actually pregnant, and they form a friendship. And then she starts dating somebody who thinks that she's pregnant, and it's like a whole thing. And you just know that the reveal is going to be coming at some point where she's going to have to break it to them. Like, she's trying to keep up this facade. It's one of those comedies.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like just physical comedy in it that I enjoyed. I found it to be just generally better than I expected to be. I'm not saying it's great. This is like a classic 5 or 6 out of 10 kind of Netflix comedy that's disposable, but I feel like better than a lot of the just absolute slop that can be found on Netflix some days. Yeah. So
I really don't like Amy Schumer, so I don't think I'll watch it. But
that's fair. If you don't like her in general, you wouldn't like this. This is not going to win you over for her. I have mixed feelings on her. I see some things where I find her to be really annoying, and sometimes like I like Trainwreck, and I like some of the like Amy Schumer vehicles they've done. This one's okay. Will Forte plays the love interest in it, and I love Will Forte. Like, I find him to be very winning, so that helps too.
I love Will Forte as well.
So that's kind of pregnant. And that's the end of Fresh Movies of the Week. And now we can move on to Fresh TV,
Fresh TV.
where you finally got to dabble in the new season of The Rehearsal.
I did, and Nathan Fielder is a nut job, and I love it. I love every minute of it. I don't know, man. I don't know if I understand his humor or if he understands mine, but we're vibing, man, and it's too funny. It's just he's such an absurdist. You know what I mean? Like it's just so ridiculous, and but like not in a silly way. You know what I mean? It's because it's not really portrayed as silly. It's just absurd. He takes things so far past any reasonable person. You know, he recreated an entire airport terminal and then was trying to learn about pilots by watching actors who stalked potentially very illegally real life pilots. So he's trained this army of stalkers slash actors he's trained them how to gain access to secure areas. He's trained them how to follow people home and all this stuff. And man, it's so creepy and hilarious.
How many episodes of this have you
I
watched?
think I watched the first two.
Okay. So did you saw the reality singing competition stuff? That's in the second one, I think.
Okay, I think I watched the first one.
Okay. All I'll say is the third episode of this season, you talk about absurdist comedy and all that it is. The third episode is probably the wildest 30 minutes of television that I've ever witnessed.
Is that the baby thing?
It is, huh?
Is that the baby thing?
Yes.
I've seen clips online, dude. That man is insane.
It gets so crazy. Talk about absurd comedy becoming silly. I mean, it is absolutely wild. He is absolutely brilliant. I'm just in awe, and I'm still 2 episodes behind. I have 2 more episodes I need to catch up on this week of this. Yeah, I forgot that a show can make me feel that way. The first season of The Rehearsal kind of brought that about, and this season's just topping it for me so far.
It's such an interesting feeling. Like inside, you feel like it's like you're watching it and you realize you don't understand the world anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy. I love it.
Yep. That's The Rehearsal season 2, and then you had another show.
I did. The new season of Death, Love, and Robots is out on Netflix. It is a what's it called? Where it's all different stuff.
Anthology.
Anthology. It's an anthology series. Every episode's different people, different art styles, different stories, different writers, everything. And so if you've seen any Death Love Robots, they have some really cool stuff, really interesting storylines. In previous seasons they had like tiny people in an episode, and you like can't really understand. They're like little Sims, and then it's all fast forwarded, but it's like a zombie apocalypse that you get to watch and fast forward. And whoever did that one did another one in this season with an alien invasion. Fantastic, loved it. It was hilarious. This season starts off weird with a almost claymation style puppet show of an entire Red Hot Chili Peppers song, and that's the whole first episode. And it's really weird that they started it that way, but it's pretty cool visually. There's some cool sci-fi stories after that. It's a really interesting show. I love it. It keeps me very interested. Between this and I like this better than Secret Level. Secret Level is the same thing, but it's all about video games. I like Death, Love, and Robots more. You can like it both. I don't care. But I definitely recommend it to everybody. This is like season 5, and some of the episodes are longer, some of them are like 5 minutes. So there's a lot of bite-sized content for you in your busy life. You ever watch this?
I watched a few of them when the first season aired. I don't think I've ever caught up on any of the ones after that, but I always like it's the type of show where you get recommendations from people that are like, "Watch this one." Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't watch the whole season, watch this one.
That's fair. I mean, like, yeah, you might want to pick and choose. I had a friend say that one episode really triggered his PTSD, and I called what episode it was, and I was right. It was pretty fucked up, but some episodes are fucked up. Some are really good. It's a lot like Black Mirror in that I feel like it's very much in the same vein of Black Mirror. It's just animated. Yeah, check it out.
Cool.
I think that ends our fresh TV. What do we got now?
Yeah,
Fresh games?
Worth noting, I'm behind 2 episodes of The Last of Us. Not by choice. I was out of town this last weekend.
Right. I am only behind 1. I have caught up before that. And I will say this season gets really good. Some really interesting stuff happens. The first 2 episodes I was in, things started to slow down a little bit. I was unsure. But now I'm back in. I think this is going to be a really good season.
Yeah, I need to. I'll catch up for sure because I don't want to get 3 episodes behind because that's when I fall off. But I'll get caught up this week. Moving on to that, Last of Us is always a good transition to fresh games because it's based off a game. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Look at you, a master of transitions.
I do want to just close the book on Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I did finally finish the game. But not only that, I spent a lot of hours 100%ing it. I shouldn't say I didn't 100% it. There's a lot of bosses or there's things I could do in the game still if I wanted to. But I hit level 99 and I got every achievement, which is what I was going for. So I did all the big optional bosses. The ultra secret hardest boss of the game, the only way you can beat him is essentially by cheating. There's a build out there you can find for one of the characters that lets her hit for just tens of millions of damage if you have certain multipliers added, like with your Luminas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But still, I really enjoyed my time with it. I probably spent about 55 hours with the game to fully do everything I did in it, and it for sure is at the top of my list for game of the year now, and it'll be interesting to see if that changes between now and the end of the year, because GTA would have been the one that I said would be the one to look out for, but that's not this year anymore.
Nope.
So
it's going to be game of the year next year.
Yeah.
Clair Obscur, yeah, I'm all in on it. Also in the top running for game of the year for me. I haven't finished it yet. I'm a lot further behind than you. Because I've been kind of spreading my time around as many games. This has been the hottest season for Xbox Game Pass that I can remember. Like, they're dropping so much content. They're dropping new content, fresh content. They're dropping old content. They just dropped Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. Have it downloaded, might play that. They dropped Forbidden Planet, or not, Return to the Savage Planet, which is a co-op sequel to Savage Planet. Really want to play that. They have, the remake of Oblivion, Clair Obscura, and now they just dropped Doom Dark Ages. And that's nuts, dude. It's been a wild, wild time.
Yeah, and that was the other one I had on here to talk about. You and I both been playing Doom the Dark Ages a little bit here, and first off, its timing is really good for me personally.
Yeah.
Having just finished Expedition 33 and spent a lot of hours there, Doom the Dark Ages is a much better palate cleanser from that game than I even thought it would be. And I don't know if that was by design, but it really worked out that way. The modern interpretations of Doom, I think the first of these new Doom games came out in like 2016, if I have my timing right. And then Doom Eternal came out a few years ago. It was before Microsoft purchased Bethesda because it was not a Game Pass day one title when Doom Eternal came out. I caught up on Doom Eternal later, but that game is amazing, and I feel like takes everything that Doom 2016 established and made it all better and introduced this really cool like grappling hook and all this stuff. And that game was awesome. Doom: The Dark Ages takes a turn and goes like a little bit more medieval. It's a lot more story focused. I think this is the thing that has surprised me the most about the game, Jahan, is just like how many cutscenes there are in it and how much it's focusing on story. Because I don't recall them doing that in the last ones. I might be
Yeah.
wrong. I feel like the last ones are very clear, like hell taking over Earth, or like portals into hell, demons, just kill, kill, kill. That's kind of it. This one is way more of a storyline and giving background to the Doomslayer and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did that surprise you at all?
So I haven't really played the modern Dooms. I played the old ones when I was younger. I wasn't really a big Doom guy. They lost me at some point. I don't know when. Um, but Doom Dark Ages, I don't know. They had me interested with like the shield and the medieval style, and like this one's different. Uh, I guess yeah, there is a lot more story than I was expecting for sure. Um, and the combat is actually a lot more varied. There's a lot of different like there's so many enemy types. Everyone has to be defeated in a different way, and you kind of have to be cognizant of that while dodging for your life and reflecting stuff. You have to be like, oh no, I need to hit this guy like this. I need to do this. I need to throw my shield at that guy, but only when his armor turns red. And this gun's best for killing. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and it just keeps it really fresh, man. And there's more puzzles than I was expecting. I'm having fun with the puzzles.
This one is interesting in that regard. So like having played them and comparing, so you're right. Like they encourage you to switch between different guns, especially because you're constantly kind of running and gunning when you're in battles, and you could run out of ammo, switch to something else. And I also like that all the levels start to introduce different challenges that you can do that I think encourage you to switch up what guns you're using. And then when you get further along and you fully upgrade guns, you unlock mastery challenges for them that encourage you to use the guns in certain ways to like fully master the weapon. I like all that stuff because it encourages you just to not just use the same gun the whole time.
Yeah.
The other thing with this game is like Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, I feel like had a lot of collectibles and things that were like really, really well hidden and took a lot of platforming, and things were like in crazy places, like platforms off the map, like really difficult to get to unless you were using a guide or something like that. That's not the case with Doom: The Dark Ages. Like stuff is, most of the collectibles show up on your map when you get close to them, so you kind of know there are things in the vicinity. And I feel like by looking at your map and looking at all the different paths, you can pretty easily figure it out. So I like that about it. I like that you can just play it kind of casually.
Yeah.
You can find everything. You can unlock everything. There's still challenges to be found there, especially with the actual like weapon challenges or things to do. But I like that it's a lot more accessible. If like, if I want to go find all the collectibles, I can do that and have a good time doing it. Or if you don't really care about that and you just want to run straight through the levels, you're fine to do that too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the way they had the collectibles in this one. Didn't really play the other ones, but this one, it just, I don't know. It feels like you do stuff, you get rewarded. It's pretty straightforward, and yeah, I don't feel like I need to cheat to find the answers to these. The answers are pretty. If you look, you can find them. It's not too hard, but just hard enough to be rewarding.
Yeah. I think the main thing for me in comparing the games is that while I really like this one and I like the theme and I like the kind of makeovers they've done to, because all these enemies are in the past games, they just all have a different look to go with the kind of medieval theme. I love the Slayer's actual outfit and like the way they've done him. I think the main thing is the gimmick that this game is running off of is the shield, right? Yeah. And the razor blade shield or shield saw, whatever it's called, and all that. And it is a mechanic that I really like and enjoy, but I think I liked the grappling hook from Doom Eternal a lot more. But that doesn't stop me from having fun with this game. Like, I really like the shield. It's just, the shield is like, what can you do with it? You can use it and you can burst through a wall, to find a secret area, but that's a lot more limited than having a grappling hook that brings a lot more verticality to different maps and
Yeah.
things because you can go up and down. But still, I think that the design and
you can
everything
do
in
it
this
with the
game is really
shield,
good.
but only where there's a shield jump spot or whatever. Yeah. So
And I do really like the kind of Captain America esque throwing the shield and it returning to you. And sometimes when you throw it through big groups of enemies and it just saws through all of them, it is very it
it's
works and
satisfying.
it's
Yeah.
fulfilling. Yeah, it's satisfying.
Yeah. I really like the shield. I'm all in on the shield. So as someone who hasn't played Doom Eternal, Doom Dark Ages is my favorite Doom game that I've ever played.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, if you don't have anything to compare it to other than like the old Doom
Old school
games,
Doom
I would
games.
imagine this is an incredible experience.
It's
'Cause
super fun,
these games are
man.
great.
Super fun. Really enjoying it. The shield and the dragon are my two favorite things so far, so I'm really having a good time with that.
I'm hoping they'll have another. I'm 10. I finished 10 levels, and I believe there's 22 levels if the game isn't lying to me because it shows you like how many where you're at. I finished 10. There's only been one of the dragon flying levels where I'm
Oh
at now.
man,
But
I
I'm
was hoping they'd
hoping.
be a lot more often than that.
I think I'm about to have another one where you're controlling the big like Titan robot. So there's
Those are
that.
cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, Doom Dark
Still,
Ages is
it's
good.
fun.
I would certify it fresh. I think it's definitely worth playing. I think people, if you're a fan of the Doom games, I think yeah, it's worth money. Definitely go buy it. But if you're a fan of the Doom games, why don't you have Game Pass?
True. Yeah, they're all on there.
The only other thing I played, and I've been playing the ever living shit out of it, is another game that came to Game Pass that I've been really wanting to play for a long time. It's called Dredge. This is kind of a cozy fishing game where you're a fish boat captain on the open seas, but the seas are full of Cthulhu monsters and you slowly go insane and start seeing things as you play if you spend too much time in the dark. So it's got a horror aspect to it. If you're afraid of water, it can definitely trigger that. But yeah, it's a real fun game where you're searching for ancient like Cthulhu monster artifacts. You learn a bit of dark Cthulhu magic. You have to go to all these interesting places and do a lot of. There's some puzzles. You have to do a lot of interesting things. It's very fun. It's eaten up a lot of my time. I already beat the main game, and I liked it so much. Even though this is a Game Pass game, I paid money for the DLC. So I've been having fun with that. Dredge, absolutely. I don't think it's for everybody, but it scratches whatever particular mental illness I have. So I was all in. Absolutely love it. If you find yourself enjoying the same games that I'm always talking about liking, try Dredge. This one will tickle your pickle for sure. But I'm gonna have to put it down because I believe was it Hell Train 2 just came out.
Oh, Monster Train.
Monster Train
Is
2
that
just
the thing?
came out,
Yeah.
and
It's getting rave reviews.
ooh, the first one was a masterpiece, and it blew everyone's minds because no one thought anything could ever touch Slay the Spire until Monster Train, and now Monster Train 2's out before Slay the Spire 2. So it's free on Game Pass already. I'm gonna download it after this and probably play it tonight. But yeah, that's all my fresh games, and I believe that's it for this week. All we got left is fresh picks of the week. What do you got, Drew?
Mine's probably, even though I just sat and was like comparing it a lot and saying things that were disappointing to me, I'm having a lot of fun with Doom: The Dark Ages, and I think that has to be my fresh pick of the week.
Doom is so fun.
It's just fun.
Doom's so fun. Dredge has consumed my life. If it's between those two, I'd still probably go Doom. Doom's been a surprise, but I just saw Thunderbolts and I was blown away. I'm going to go Thunderbolts for my fresh pick of the week. Get out to the theaters and go see it, baby!
Yes, sir. All right. Well,
I do believe that concludes this episode of Fresh Out the Podcast. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being our friend. I love you in a very sexual way. I've been the Board Game Guru, Game Master Extraordinaire, and your secret lover, Jahananan.
I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and thank you for joining us for episode 150.